Hey y'all, welcome to, or welcome back to my channel, Scotty Cherie Reads. And this is gonna be the start of my first ever Summerween vlog. So I'm very excited to jump into this. I have the prompts here. If you don't know, Summerween is a readathon hosted by Gabby over at Gabby Reads, as she does every summer, where you read horror books in order to prep for Halloween in October. So the prompts here, there's read a book in the dark or at night, read a horror book or thriller book, read a book with the sky on the cover, read a book you've owned for more than a year, and the last one, which is the fifth prompt, is read a novella, manga, or listen to a spooky audiobook. So you can double up, triple up, you can find one book that works for all 5 prompts. And I'm just gonna go over what I have on the TBR that I hope to get to in this week. I guess I forgot to say that today is Saturday, July 5th, which is the first day of the readathon. It'll go until the 12th of July, so you have 1 week to read as many books as you can and to fulfill these prompts. So I have 2 books here that fill all of the prompts, which I'll go over quickly. So for the first one, read a book in the dark or at night. I can read either of them, which I have Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. So this might look familiar. This was on my June TBR for my queer reads, but I never got around to it. But it's very high up there on my list, and it fulfills quite a few prompts, which I'll get into, so I'm excited about that. And then lastly, I'm going to read Shiver by Junji Ito. I read Uzumaki a few years ago and absolutely loved it, and then just never picked up another Junji Ito since then. So this is his short story collection, I believe, and I'm excited to get into this. So in terms of the prompts, read a book in the dark or at night. Either of those you'll see in this vlog, which one or if both of them fulfill that prompt. They're both a horror book, so that's for number 2, fulfills number 2. This one has a sky on the cover, which is the 3rd prompt. If you can't tell, he's kind of up there, the sky in the background, the buildings in the bottom. A book you've owned for more than a year. I have had both of these for multiple years, so both of them fulfill that. And then the last one is read a novella, manga, or listen to a spooky audiobook. And this is a manga, as you can tell. So yeah, we'll see how much I get done reading today. It's about 5 p.m. on Saturday the 5th. If this looks kind of familiar, it's because I just finished my mid-year book freakout tag, which I'll have linked above. And I edited all that today, so I'm gonna take a little bit of a break. My husband will get home shortly, we'll make some dinner. I'll bring you along with me throughout the night, and I'll update you once I've read a little bit of either of these 2 books, whichever one I decide to pick up. Okay, I'm back. It is the next day, which is Sunday, July 6th. It's about 1:24 p.m. and I'm deciding which book I want to start because I ultimately didn't get around to reading last night. So I picked my books and everything as you saw, but I'm gonna start reading on the second day. I'm actually on sprints right now with Gabby Reads, who's hosting the Summerween Readathon. And yeah, so I'm thinking I'm actually gonna start Hell Followed With This by Andrew Joseph White today. And I don't have much else to do today, actually. I did everything I needed to do on my checklist is finished already for today. So I'm just gonna read and see where the day takes me. I decided to pick this one up because I figured Shiver is actually a short story collection by Junji Ito. It says, including 9 Junji Ito's best short stories, is selected by the author himself and presented with accompanying notes and commentary. So I figured since one of the prompts is to read the book in the dark / or at night, this will be great to read short stories. I'm going to have to read more than one a night since there are 9 of them. But I can read a couple short stories each night, make sure that I finish this book completely in the dark. So that means I will start Hella Followed With Us. However, I am going to read this synopsis for you because I don't really remember much about this book. So, buckle up. It says, prepare to die. His kingdom is near. 16-year-old trans boy Benji is on the run from the cult that raised him, the fundamentalist sect that unleashed Armageddon and decimated the world's population. Desperately, he searches for a place where the cult can't get his hands on him, or more importantly, on the bioweapon they infected him with. But when cornered by monsters born from the destruction, Benji is rescued by a group of teens from the local Akasan LGBTQ+ center, affectionately known as the ALC. The ALC's leader, Nick, is gorgeous, autistic, and a deadly shot, and he knows Benji's deeper secret. The cult's bioweapon is mutating him into a monster deadly enough to wipe humanity from the earth once and for all. Still, Nick offers Benji shelter among his ragtag group of queer teens, as long as Benji can control the monster and use its power to defend the ALC. Eager to belong, Kenji accepts Nick's terms until he discovers the ALC's mysterious leader has a hidden agenda and more than a few secrets of his own. So that sounds really intriguing. This is described as a horror story, but it seems like there's a little bit of thriller elements. It looks like they're out fighting turfs. There might be a twist. So yeah, this is actually a YA horror book, which I'm eager to read. I feel like I haven't read a lot of middle grade or young adult horror books, and I've heard that Andrew Joseph White does it really, really well. So I'm excited. It seems like there's a lot of heavy-hitting topics in here, and especially like some things like a trans main character and, you know, talking about like turfs and things like that that you don't see in young adult very often. So yeah, I'm eager to pick this up. But yeah, that's it. I am going to make myself a little matcha and then read, and I will hop back in when I have something to say after reading this book. Okay, I'm back with my first reading update, and I am very happy with what's going on. I am on page 94, which is the first chunk of the book, which is from Benji's perspective, or it's just titled Benjamin, who's one of the main characters. It looks like it's going to swap over to Nicholas, who's another main character. I'll get into their like a little bit more details about them in a bit. But yeah, this is gonna sound like spoilers, but it's not. This book just starts out with a bang. So it starts out with us understanding that Benji, which is short for Benjamin, is a 16-year-old trans boy, and he's actually running away with his dad from this like religious group that his mom's like in charge of or a reverend for, and they're running away because they don't agree with Benji's lifestyle and like sexuality and gender identity, but the dad does. So they are trying to run away, but immediately the dad is killed on their run. Like, it's pretty gruesome because this is a horror book where they explain like Benji has like his dad's guts and everything all over him. Long story short, Benji is kind of recaptured by this religious group, which is part of the angelic movement. We'll kind of get into this. And something happens quickly. I'm not going to say what it is, but Benji finds his way out of the hands of the angelic movement and into, I read it as ALC, which is ALC, but it stands for Akasan LGBTQ+ Center, which is where Nick comes in because Nick is one of the leaders for this organization. And it's a spot that's outside of the religious group that is an area where it's all queer individuals that are staying there and surviving, because what's going on in the world right now is it's basically like post-apocalyptic. There's this thing called the flood, which I equate to like a huge plague that killed a bunch of people. So either this plague kills you, or it turns you into a thing what's called a grace, which is like this monster that it's like starts human and it becomes this hard to kill thing, but it's insanely murderous. So this group of kids are all together and they call themselves ALC, ALC in the center. And Benji finds his way to this group. However, Benji is special, and Benji has interacted with the flood, but it's unique to him, and they call him the Seraph, which I didn't know was like an angelic like figure, which like on this cover that's supposed to be Benji that has like 6 wings. I'd never heard of it before. I'll have to do a little bit more research and I'll tie that into the vlog later. So Benji's going through this slow stage of understanding what these feelings are and turning into the Seraph. But another special thing about Benji is that being the Seraph, it's the only thing that the graces, those monstrous beings I was talking about, that Seraphs are the only thing that can control them. So at the end of where I'm at, Benji sneaks out and is going to find a grace to kind of test his abilities to see what he can do, and things happen, but that's all I'm gonna say there. The pacing is very fast, but not too fast in my opinion. I think it's really well done. If you can see, I have so many tabs on here already. The red are just quotes that I really liked, and then the yellow are just important information that I want to go back to later. There are tons of characters in here. It's a very diverse group. I'm invested in a lot of them. Death has happened already. Yeah, it's really good so far. I think the religious talk in this book is done so well. Like, I can already tell it's gonna be one of my favorites as long as it doesn't go off the rails, but I know it's a beloved book for a lot of individuals because I've never read a book, especially like a young adult book, that focuses on the experience of like a trans individual being in this insanely religious organization, removing themselves from it, but then trying to see, like, do I still believe in God? Am I still religious? Am I not? You know, and Andrew Joseph White is doing a fantastic job with that in here. So yeah, I think that's all I want to say right now. I am thoroughly enjoying it. I could keep going. The only reason why I stopped is because I got to that point that I remembered to update the vlog, and because I'm getting kind of hungry. So I'm planning on just reheating dinner from last night because it was so good, which I think you saw in this vlog were chicken thighs, golden potatoes, and cabbage. Super yummy, so I'm just gonna heat that up. And then depending on how I feel after that, I'm either going to continue to read this because I don't want to pick up Shiver until it's dark out. And as you can see, the sun is still up. It's 6:21 my time. And if I don't want to pick this up and I'm a little distracted, I like to watch horror and thriller books during the week of Summerween. So I've been thinking about watching Girl Interrupted, which is a thriller like drama, because I'll link a video up here. I talked about how Girl Interrupted, which I read earlier this year, was like one of my most disappointing reads of the year. I really didn't care for it. I'm gonna unhaul that book, but I did kind of want to give the movie a chance because I know a lot of people like really love that movie. Some people say it's like it's in their top 5, you know? So there's some big actresses in it, and I just want to see where I fall, if maybe I'll like the movie. It's only 2 hours, so I feel like if I watch the movie, then it'll be dark out, and then I will pick up Shiver and read at least 1 short story, maybe 2. So as you can tell, I don't know exactly where the rest of my night's gonna go, but follow along with me and I'll update you once I have a new reading update.
others is better.
Hello, I'm finally back with another reading update. Today is Tuesday, July 8th. It's about 4 p.m. I'm sitting in my filming spot because I just finished filming a banned book video that should be out already. I'll have it linked up here. But anyway, I think it's been at least a day since I've done a reading update. In between that time, I watched Girl Interrupted, which I'll give my thoughts in a bit because I actually really liked it. And then I did end up reading the first short story in Shiver and loved it. I don't know if I'm gonna give ratings for this, but it was fantastic. It was about 30 pages. How long was it? Yeah, about 40 pages, and it's basically about a used haunted record. And that's all I'm gonna say, but it's fantastic. I just think Junji Ito does obsession so well. Like, even though this is only like a 40-page short story, it still gave me the creeps. Like, I don't know how he does it, but as I said, I've read Uzumaki, which is all about obsession and spirals, as weird as that sounds, but it really gets to you, and this book had like the obsessive elements as well, which is just so creepy to me. And yeah, so I'm excited. I'll definitely read another short story or two later tonight, and I'll update you guys once I do that. In terms of Hell Followed With Us, I've read like maybe 10 more pages, but I'm not ready for an update yet. I plan on reading a lot of that tonight. Once I, make some lunch and stuff, since I'm finished filming, I'll do that and then come back and update you. What else? Yeah, I've just been hanging out. I actually finished a different book during that time. I finished Rage by Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King. If you don't know, I'm slowly working my way through Stephen King's books in publication order, and I borrowed the Bachman books from a friend and needed to get that back to them. So I binge read that in like a day. It was okay. Look out for the specific video about that if you're interested. But yeah, so I fit that in between. I guess it does kind of work for Summerween because it's a horror book, but it wasn't on my TBR, but I did get that in. So yeah, in terms of Girl Interrupted, really quickly, I loved it. I think that obviously they dramatized it and like put a lot more shit in it, and it was more of like a coming of age story, but it was fantastic. I'm sad that I waited that long to watch it. Like, there were so many great actors and actresses in it, like Winona Ryder, Angelina Jolie, Jared Leto, Whoopi Goldberg, like Brittany Murphy, which that was so sad because, yeah, like the character that she plays in that movie, like, R.I.P. Brittany Murphy. But yeah, it was great. I would definitely watch it again. I know that if I would have watched it when I was in like high school and stuff, it would have been my whole personality. But yeah, it was good. So thank you to everyone who was like, yeah, even though you didn't like the Girl Interrupted book, you should definitely watch the movie. But anyway, tangent, just another horror or thriller movie that I watched for Summerween. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna put all of these books away from the video that I just filmed, and then I'll bring you along with me when I crack open Hell Followed With Us again. I'm back. It is the 12th, so Summerween is finished, and I barely got by, and I finished both of these. I actually finished this one last night, and then I finished this one earlier today. However, I'm coming at you comfy and cozy because unfortunately today I was filming, or I was editing this video, the Summerween vlog, and my hard drive is corrupted. I'm gonna have to figure out if I can take it in to see if the data is gonna still be there. So I had to start all over with editing this vlog, even though I was like pretty much finished. But I was able to do that. It is late, I finished, and I'm just coming back here to update y'all on how I felt about these books. So, to start, we're gonna talk about Hell Followed With Us, because I haven't talked about this in a little bit. I finished it, as I said, obviously, and it was really good. How do I want to say this? There's a lot to spoil in this book. In terms of plot, I gave you a lot from the beginning, and it twists and turns a little bit, but I don't want to say much more. It does get a little more high stakes, but ultimately, I just gave it like a 3.5 stars because it was just kind of predictable, and I think that there were some issues with the pacing. The ending felt a bit rushed. The villain that was in this book was very predictable. Like, we could see that coming from a mile away. But the writing for this book and the way that Andrew Joseph White talked about religion was really unmatched. So honestly, like, if I think about it in that way, with the way that he weaved in biblical passages and how that related to our main character, Benjamin, and him still having, you know, some sort of faith, whether that's like in himself, in humanity, in his friends, it was just beautiful. And I think that it's really important for anyone who is a young adult who's dealing with things like this, which there are a lot. This would be a fantastic moving book for them. So I definitely recommend it if that sounds interesting to you. I had a great time. I'm so excited to pick up some of his other works. And yeah, that's all I have to say about this one. Loved it. There were some creepy things that happened in here. It was pretty gruesome, surprisingly, for young adults. So it was really fun and got me into the Summerween vibes. This is also a good one for Summerween reads because with this post-apocalyptic, like, plague type thing, it felt like it would be hot in like summer, so it really gave the summer horror vibe. So if you're looking for something to pick up next year, definitely give this one a try. And Shiver was the one that took the cake. This was 5 out of 5 stars. So good and so creepy. I don't know how Junji Ito does it. Like, I don't know how a picture can make my skin crawl. It's wild. If you can see on here, I don't know if you're familiar with the phobia, trypophobia. I'll put it here. I think I'm saying it correctly, but it's the fear of like a bunch of tiny holes. And it used to be worse when I was younger, and it used to really creep me out, but I thought that I had gotten over it. No. No, it's still here. There were times that I was reading this book and like shut it and like threw the book. Oh. And through the book, literally like that, because it would just be startling turning that next page. I obviously can't tell you too much because they're just short stories, but I don't even know if I can pick a favorite. Hanging Blimp was really, really weird, and really creepy. There's some about like marionettes in here. Tomi actually makes a little cameo in this book. I haven't read Tomi yet, but I obviously recognized that name, so that was really cool. I'll definitely have to buy Tomi and see what that's about. There's a story about dreams, like a long dream where like you fall asleep, and it's a typical, like, you're falling asleep and it's gonna be a normal night, like 8 hours of rest, but in your brain, you think you were gone for like 100 years. And then 200 years. And then it kind of gets to like, what does that mean for it to be eternal? And I thought that was really, really creepy, like, mentally. But yeah, I could go on and on and on and on about Junji Ito, but like I was saying earlier, Obsession, the way that he does Obsession and you just get focused, hyper-focused on what's going on with these characters in such a short amount of time, and you feel like you're going crazy is... yeah, there's no one like it. Seriously, I feel like for horror, Tanana Reeve does a great job with that and really, like, gets me, like, hyperventilating and kind of, like, I mean, not seriously hyperventilating, but feeling that pulse and that pressure. Stephen King does it sometimes, and honestly, Junji Ito's the third for me. So, yeah, if you haven't picked up Junji Ito, please do. All right, y'all, that's it. Sorry it was a bit of a quick wrap up, but with all of the technical difficulties and stuff, I just wanted to get up here and kind of wrap it up really quickly so I can get this vlog up the next day. So you should be seeing this vlog on Sunday, the 13th, which is the day after the end of Summerween. So thanks again to Gabby for hosting Summerween and creating this fun readathon, because it's always fun to read some horror in the summer. If you like what you saw here, subscribe below. Oh, that's a big one. Thank you so much. This is the first video after reaching 1,000 subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. I've been waiting for this moment for so long, and if you're riding with me, thank you so, so, so much. If you're not, hit that subscribe button, because it's a fun time over here. And that's it, y'all. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.